You are 58, staring at that famous retirement spending smile chart. It tells you your spending will explode at age 82 because of healthcare. So you panic, you hoard your $1.2 million and skip vacations, terrified of a financial monster under your bed. I'm Wolf. And today, I'm proving why that chart is a statistical lie designed to keep you terrified, and why you actually have permission to spend your money right now. If you've been living in fear of a late life spending explosion, buckle up, because the truth is going to piss you off, and then it is going to set you free. The retirement spending smile was popularized in the mid-negative 2010s by a researcher named David Blanchett. And let me say this up front, Blanchett is brilliant. His work is rigorous. I'm not attacking the man. I'm attacking what the financial planning industry did with his research. Because here is what happened. Blanchett published data showing that, on average, retirees spend more early in retirement, less in the middle, and then a bit more again toward the end of life. Plotted on a graph, it made a U-shape, a smile. Cute, right? Financial media loved it, retirement planners loved it, it became gospel. Every blog post, every seminar, every advisor presentation for the last decade has featured some version of this chart telling you, plan for higher spending later. Healthcare will eat you alive. You need more money than you think. Here is the thing. They conveniently left out. That smile was built on average data, not median average. And if you don't understand why that distinction matters, let me give you an example that'll make it crystal clear. Imagine 10 retirees sitting in a room. 9 of them spent between $35,000 and $50,000 a year in their 80s. Perfectly normal, perfectly manageable. Then the 10th person had a $1.2 million long-term care bill. What does the average say? The average says, wow, spending went up dramatically in late retirement. The median says, nah, 9 out of 10 people spent less. One person got hit with a catastrophic bill. The average is lying to you. The average has always been lying to you. And the entire retirement fear machine runs on averages. Now, to Blanchett's credit, he was transparent about this from day one. He told people this was average data, he flagged the limitations. It wasn't a mistake, it wasn't deception, it was the best framework available at the time. But the financial media machine doesn't do nuance. They took the smile, stripped out every caveat, and turned it into a weapon of mass anxiety. And here is what really makes my blood boil. Even the original data, even the smile itself, never showed what people think it shows. The common interpretation is that spending late in life rises back up to early retirement levels. That is not what the data showed. What it showed was a modest uptick, modest, a slight bump that never even approached early retirement spending. But that is not as scary, is it? Modest uptick doesn't sell newsletters. Your healthcare costs will skyrocket and destroy your retirement. Now that gets clicks. As of January 2026, Blanchett himself has released updated research, this time based on median data. And guess what happened to the smile? It disappeared. Here is where it gets really interesting. Let's throw out the surveys. Let's throw out the models. Let's look at what retirees actually spend, dollar for dollar, track through real bank accounts and real credit card transactions. JP Morgan Asset Management analyzed millions of actual transaction records from retired households. Not how much do you think you spent last year, survey garbage. Real money, real purchases, real swipes, real withdrawals. And here is what they found. Spending declines steadily with age. Not dramatically, not overnight, but consistently. About 5 to 8% lower in real terms every 5 years. By the time you are in your mid-80s, your real spending is typically 30% or more lower than it was at the start of retirement. And here is the part that should make you want to throw your laptop at the wall. There is no systematic late life rebound in spending for the typical retiree. None. Zero. The smile doesn't show up. Not in JP Morgan's data, not in Vanguard's behavioral research, not in Morningstar studies, not in longitudinal household panel data that tracks the same families over decades. Every single credible dataset, using different methodologies, looking at millions upon millions of households, comes to the same conclusion. Retirees spend the most early, spending declines over time, and the late life surge is a ghost story. And honestly, if you stop for 10 seconds and think about this with common sense instead of fear, it is obvious. What does life look like at 85? It looks different than life at 62. You're not booking 3 international trips a year, you're not renovating the kitchen, you're not buying a new car every 4 years. Life gets simpler, quieter, smaller. Not worse, just different. And different in this case means cheaper. Yes, healthcare costs may rise as a percentage of your total spending. But here is the nuance that the fearmongers never mention. Even when healthcare takes a bigger slice of the pie itself is shrinking. Total spending goes down, the composition shifts, but the total falls. A bigger percentage of a smaller number is still a smaller number. So when someone tells you spending goes up in late retirement, what they're actually describing, whether they know it or not, is this: a small minority of retirees incur massive medical or long-term care costs. And those outliers pull the average upward, creating the illusion of a universal pattern that doesn't exist for 85% of the population. Those are two radically different statements. And confusing them has cost retirees hundreds of thousands of dollars in unnecessary hoarding and decades of unnecessary anxiety. All right, let's address the elephant in the room, because I know what you're thinking. But Wolf, what about long-term care? What about nursing homes? What about dementia? What about the $15,000, a month facility that eats through savings like a wood chipper? Fair, that fear is real, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you it doesn't exist. What I'm going to do is show you exactly how common it actually is, because I guarantee the number in your head right now is wildly, dramatically, catastrophically wrong. The best lifetime data on this comes from the Urban Institute. Not projections, not simulations, actual tracked care usage over actual individual lives. Real observed behavior, real out-of-pocket costs. Ready? Here's what happens to 100 people who reach age 65. 52 of them, more than half, will never spend a single dollar on paid long-term care for the rest of their lives. Not one penny, not a home health aide, not a nursing home, not a memory care unit, nothing. Zero. Now, among the 48 who do spend something on long-term services and supports, let's break it down further, because long-term care is a ridiculously broad term. It could mean paying your neighbor's daughter $200 to help you with groceries after a hip surgery. It could mean a 2-week stay in a rehab facility after a fall. It could also mean 5 years in a memory care unit at $12,000 a month. These are not the same thing, but they all get lumped into the same scary category. Among those 48 people who did use some form of paid care, about 12 of them, roughly 25% of users, spend less than $30,000 total over their entire lifetime. That is it. That could be a few $1,000s every couple of years for intermittent home help. That is not the financial apocalypse. That is a rounding error in a solid retirement plan. An extra $2,000 to $3,000 every few years is not going to derail a portfolio, period. About 18 to 20 of them spend between $30,000 and $300,000 over their lifetime. This is the biggest group among care users. And yes, that is a wide range. This typically looks like a few years of in-home help or shorter nursing facility stay, sometimes partially offset by Medicaid if assets decline enough. Is there uncertainty here? Absolutely. But notice the framing. This is lifetime spending, not annual. Spread over years or even decades, these costs, while real, are plannable. And then we have the group that keeps everyone up at night. About 14 to 15 people out of our original 100 will spend more than $300,000 on long-term care over their lifetime. This is the tail risk: extended nursing home stays, multi-year dementia care, institutional care that grinds through savings month after month after month. This is real, this is devastating, and this is what drives the entire fear industry. But let that number sink in for a moment. 14 to 15 out of 100. That is roughly 15%. 85% of retirees will never experience catastrophic long-term care costs. And that 15%, they are the ones pulling the average up. They are the reason the spending smile exists. They are the statistical outliers that created a narrative that has terrorized millions of retirees into hoarding money they could have been using to actually enjoy the retirement they worked their entire damn lives to earn. Now, I want to say something very clearly. I am not telling you to ignore long-term care risk. That would be irresponsible. What I am telling you is that fear without data is not a plan. Fear without data is a prison. Here is where it gets really good. Because instead of living in vague, paralyzing terror of some unquantified future catastrophe, you can actually put a number on it. You can name the monster. And once you name it, it stops being a monster and starts being a line item. Let S use the high end number $300,000. That is the threshold for catastrophic care. And let S assume you want that money fully funded and ready to go by age 77. Why 77? Because the data shows that most people who need long-term care need it until their late 70s or early 80s. Nursing care admissions peak in the late 70s to early 80s. Memory care and dementia units, typically early to mid 80s. Now, let S say you retire at 60. That gives you 17 years of runway before you realistically need to access this bucket. If we assume a 6% annual return, not aggressive, not conservative, just reasonable, here is the math that blows people's minds. To have $300,000 at age 77, you need to set aside approximately $111,000 at age 60. 11,100美元. That is it. Yes, it is a meaningful amount. But compare that number to the alternative, sitting on an extra $400,000 or $500,000 just in case. Spending a fraction of what your plan could support, turning down trips, skipping experiences, driving a car you hate, eating at home when you want to eat out, all because you are terrified of a scenario that has a 15% chance of happening. And that could have been planned for with a dedicated bucket worth $111,000. Here is what this approach actually does. It puts a boundary around the fear. It takes the infinite, shapeless, middle-of-the-night anxiety of what if something terrible happens, and turns it into a specific, funded, managed risk. You name it, you quantify it, you plan for it, done. And once that bucket exists, once you know that your long-term care scenario is accounted for, something remarkable happens. You give yourself permission to actually live. You stop white-knuckling your portfolio. You take the trip, you upgrade the car, you say yes to dinner with friends instead of eating leftover soup for the third time this week because you're being responsible. The money you saved, it was always meant to be spent. That was the whole point. You didn't sacrifice for 40 years so you could die with the highest possible account balance. You sacrificed so you could live. And the spending smile myth has been stealing that from people for a decade. You want to know why the spending smile refuses to die? Follow the incentives. If you believe spending goes up later in life, what do? You save more, you invest more, you keep more money in the system, you pay more in advisory fees, you buy more insurance products, you purchase long-term care policies with premiums that make your eyes water. You stay scared, and scared people are profitable people. Nobody in the retirement planning industry has an incentive to tell you, hey, actually, there is an 85% chance your spending just goes down over time, and you are going to be totally fine, because that sentence doesn't sell anything. That sentence doesn't generate fees. That sentence doesn't keep you coming back for quarterly reviews, where someone charges you 1% of your portfolio to tell you what you already know. The system is designed to keep you afraid. And the spending smile, misinterpreted, stripped of context, and plastered on every retirement planning website in existence, is the perfect tool for that job. This isn't a conspiracy theory. This is incentive alignment. The people who benefit from your fear are the ones framing the narrative, and they've done a hell of a job. Here is the real deal. Retirement spending, for the vast majority of people, follows a simple, boring, totally manageable pattern. It starts higher, it declines gradually, and it stays down. The smile is an artifact of bad statistics, amplified by an industry that profits from your anxiety. Does long-term care risk exist? Yes. Is it plannable? Absolutely. Is it the financial extinction event that everyone makes it out to be for 85 out of 100 people? No, not even close. So here is what I want you to do. Stop planning for the average. The average is a liar plan for the median. Plan for what actually happens to real people in real life. Build a dedicated bucket for long-term care if it gives you peace of mind. Fund it, let it grow, and then take the rest of your money. The money you spent 30, 40 years accumulating. The money that represents thousands of missed weekends and stressful Monday mornings and years of delayed gratification. And use it, spend it, live on it. There is no trophy for dying with the most money in your IRA. There is no award for being the most financially responsible corpse in the cemetery. Your kids don't need your entire portfolio. Your grandkids would rather have memories of you taking them to Disneyland than an inheritance they'll blow on a kitchen renovation. The spending smile told you to be afraid. The data says you can exhale. You're not underprepared. You're not one medical bill away from disaster. You are not going to run out of money because you took a vacation at 68. You were oversold a fear, and that fear cost you years of living. Not anymore. Plan with data, spend with confidence, and for the love of God, take the damn trip. The retirement you earned isn't a spreadsheet, it is a life. Go live it.